The mics are on, it is a small world after all, and this is episode 6 of Our Disney Opinions. My name is Jason, I am one of your hosts, and I am joined by my lovely co-host in life. Her name is Julie, and she sounds just like this.
That was a good one, I liked that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I decided not to sing to you.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, we could run through a chorus of It's a Small World. Everybody knows the words.
Yeah, I'm going to spare people
then we'd
that,
get
though.
sued. I don't want to get sued. We don't make any money from this, so I don't want to get sued.
That's a really good point.
So, on today's episode, we are going to wrap up our travel planning series that we've been talking about by kind of focusing on 3 different kinds of trips that you could take to the Walt Disney World and how we would go about planning those. And we'll do 3 things, and we'll also talk about one very important news item that's happened between now and our last episode, which was the introduction of Disney Genie, and we'll try to make heads or tails out of it because there's a lot of interesting terminology being used, and we're going to tell you what we know.
Sounds good. And as a reminder, we are travel planners with Goofy Getaways. We can help with choosing when to go, where to stay, and how to fit it all into your budget. Don't like waking up at 5 a.m. to make dining reservations? Don't worry, we do, and we've got that part covered for you. Plus, we've done a lot of things at Disney, so we're filled with opinions, tips, and tricks to help you maximize every minute of your magical Disney trip. Best of all, our services are totally free when you book a trip with us. It all starts with an email. Just reach out to Jason at goofygetaways.com to get started. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Absolutely. Our Disney Opinions on Instagram and Goofy Getaways with Jason and Julie on Facebook. So one of the things that we had to pull out of that little plug was the mention of FastPass because it is not coming back. But what is coming back is very intriguing and has a lot of potential, and it's called Disney Genie. And it was announced a few weeks ago in the interim between our episodes. So here's what we know. Disney Genie, in and of itself, is free, and it is an extension of the app.
It is a new digital service in the My Disney Experience and Disneyland apps.
All right. So it is part of the My Disney Experience app. So what it looks like you're going to see from Disney Genie itself, the free version, is trying to help you figure out what to do next and how to maximize your time by showing you what attractions have short wait times, what attractions have shorter than usual wait times, and suggesting where to go next and what to do next based on information that you give it, things that you tell it you like, and things that you tell it you're trying to accomplish. It's going to try to figure that all out for you, which to me sounds pretty cool. It would, I don't have any problem with an app that's going to monitor wait times and go, Pirates looks 20 minutes shorter than it usually is. If you like that, maybe you should head over there.
As long as its times can keep up with what's really happening.
I think that's absolutely true.
Because
I think
we've seen that, we've seen that go wrong for us just looking
recently,
looking at a time on the My Disney Experience app and rushing over to Space Mountain because, that is amazingly short, and then getting there and finding out that everyone else saw that too.
I think that's going to be very interesting.
That's going to be tough. Although I don't know, I feel like that's a fun challenge. Like let's go to Walt Disney World and try to go by what the app says and see how our day goes. Do exactly
what Disney Genie says and see how you do.
Seems like a fun test.
And I think part of what's going to help is that we know a lot about the parks and we know a lot about how the parks function and how the flow of the day goes for a lot of people. And so I think, having a travel planner on your team that knows the parks and can say, Disney Genie doesn't seem like they're going to be right about that estimation, so keep in touch with your travel planner at all times.
No, not at all times.
Not at all times. So that's Disney Genie. That part is free. Everybody can use that when it launches at unknown date, probably in October, but no guarantees.
But there's nothing like FastPass in the free version,
Not in the
correct?
free version.
Yeah.
So Disney Genie Plus is where you get your FastPass type functionality back. And that does have a cost associated with it, which will be $15 per day per person.
Yes. Per ticket.
Per ticket. So a family of 4 of ticketed guests, that'll be $60 per day added on to the cost of your ticket. What that gets you is starting at 7 a.m., you are able to make one FastPass style reservation for an attraction of your choosing that will give you a return time And when you return, you will not be going down the Fast Pass or Fast Pass Plus return line. You will be heading down the Lightning Lane. Ka-chow.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. And why Cars isn't all over Lightning Lane, I don't understand. Like, I feel like it's an absolute missed opportunity. Why is Lightning McQueen's lightning bolt logo not associated with Lightning Lane? But
it didn't occur to me until you just said it just now. So
Ka-chow.
Clearly you should be the one in charge of these
I'm
things.
not in charge of anything. So what we understand about Genie Plus is, like I said, you will get a Fast Pass style reservation. So at 7 a.m. you'll be able to pick from almost any attraction that had Fast Pass in the past, with a couple of exceptions per park, it sounds like. They haven't exactly detailed which attractions will be exempt from Genie Plus reservations, but you will basically go in and say, I want to go on Thunder Mountain. And it will say, hey, how about 9:30 a.m. for Thunder Mountain? And you'll say, great. So you'll make your Genie Plus, or whatever time is on offer to you based on what other people are doing. And so you'll go at 9:30 or between 9:30 and 10:30, and you'll ride Big Thunder Mountain. And I assume right now that it will work a lot like Fast Pass Plus. As soon as you scan into the line, you'll be able to start making your next Genie Plus reservation.
I would assume so.
Just down the line. So you start walking through the queue at Big Thunder Mountain, through the Lightning Lane, and, start looking and go, ooh, Haunted Mansion, I can get at noon. Okay, we'll go do Haunted Mansion at noon. And then in the meantime, you go do Pirates and Jungle Cruise. Right.
So unlike what has been happening with Fast Pass Plus, we're not making those reservations 60 days ahead of time anymore.
You're not making them 60 days ahead.
And we're not making 3 at a time anymore.
You're making them barely 60 minutes ahead of time.
Right. So you're doing them a day of.
Yeah.
And 1 at a time, which is sort of, am I remembering right that that's kind of how it was
It's exactly how paper Fast Pass was.
But you don't have to go to the actual attraction to get your Fast Pass.
Correct. You just have to have a park reservation for the day. Everything that I've seen says everybody who has a park reservation can make one at 7 a.m. It is not yet limited to just resort guests at 7 a.m. So that is Genie Plus.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
Can we talk about cost for a minute?
Yes.
Because on one hand, I'm annoyed that they're charging for something that once was free, and they're charging a pretty penny for it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's kind of a bargain when you look at what Express Pass is at Universal.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. The Universal Skip the Line Pass is...
Yeah. This is coming in under that.
$80, $90, $100 a day.
I'm looking at prices right now.
You're so resourceful.
I am. So Universal Express Pass, the one that lets you skip the lines 1 time per ride for the day, is starting at $70 per person per day. And then the Unlimited starts at $90. But the ones that I've looked at for booking, I don't know if I've ever managed to find someone their Express Pass for those prices. It's usually closer to 100 or 120.
That's like probably right now kind of times where it's super off season.
Yeah. So I don't feel like the Disney version is really that far off. I
absolutely
think.
Not.
And they're setting it at one price. It's not. Yeah. Is it not going to fluctuate?
It's not going to fluctuate.
Like tickets do?
At least as far as we know, it's not going to fluctuate based on time and demand, time of year.
So, I mean, I'm not surprised that they went to charging for it. No one has to be happy about them charging for it, but it's...
So, you look at a 5-day ticket, that's an extra $300. So, when you get to that point, I kind of start to think that I would drop park hopping from my ticket to pick up Genie Plus.
Yeah.
If it functions as well as I hope it will function.
Yeah.
Because what you're going to do with Genie Plus is you're really going to maximize your time in that park in a day. So it won't necessarily lend itself to park hopping and running back and forth. But, I think a skilled Genie Plus player could also, as you're finishing your Big Thunder Mountain, so say you get a Big Thunder Mountain as your first one and you go right to the park and you ride Splash Mountain. So you ride Splash Mountain while you're waiting for your Big Thunder Mountain. Then as soon as you get in the Big Thunder line, you make an Expedition Everest pass.
As long as you
for 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or just after the park hopping time starts and you do a few more Magic Kingdom things. So it might allow you to hit the highlights over the 4 parks in less time. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of really interesting timing and math. You're making a really thinking face over there, which nobody can see, but it's cute.
I will save my commentary or my thoughts on the current state of Disney transportation for another episode, because that would really
was the other
hinder
thing.
That plan.
Yeah. So you're going to hear us talking about a recent trip, and we were at Disney for 4 days in August, and we'll talk about that on the next episode. We'll have some special guests help us out with that.
Yeah.
But we will get to that. We just wanted to finish up this park planning series first.
Okay, so back to...
Yes, I think that was one of the things that hit me the most after this last trip was the idea of park hopping is so slowed down by getting anywhere now on Disney transportation that it almost doesn't seem worth it for me. And I've always been a very avid park hopping fan of let's do 2 or 3 parks in a day just because we can.
Yeah. We've done that a lot.
It feels like all inclusive, and you don't have to worry about anything. You can just do really literally whatever you want whenever you want.
Right.
With a park hopper. But
so to circle back to it, your point or your idea about dropping park hopping in order to do Disney Plus. Yeah. I think that's
Genie
wise.
Plus.
What did I say?
We've both done Disney Plus now. So, and if you do have Disney Plus, check out Behind the Attraction. It's an awesome series.
It really is. Okay.
So we've covered Genie, and we've covered Genie Plus, and
we've talked about Lightning Lane.
talked about Lightning Lane. But did you know that there's also something called Lightning Lane that you pay for? Because that makes the most sense possible.
I don't understand why they're doing this. A couple
of the attractions that aren't going to be accessible through Genie Plus, you will be able to purchase direct access to their Lightning Lane line by purchasing Lightning Lane access to that attraction.
That one attraction.
That one or two attractions per park.
Yes, up to 2.
Yes.
Per day.
Oh, interesting.
Is what you can do.
Okay.
And the examples that they're giving are Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at Magic Kingdom will be one. Radiator Springs Racers at Disney California Adventure.
Okay.
Those are the only 2 that I've seen.
Those are the only 2. Interesting.
So, but, things like that are high, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for.
High demand.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's the word.
Yeah.
I assume that's what they're going to do.
So, I think that's going to play into a lot of Disney Genie Plus strategy. See? Gosh darn it.
I know. It's just going to keep happening.
Take us 6 months.
And it says pricing will vary by date, attraction, and park. So there's where you're going to get your...
You're going to be paying a lot of money to get some of these high demand things. If this ends up on Rise of the Resistance, which it could, because they haven't said...
that would break my heart.
You could, but
you can still do standby.
That's the thing. With Lightning Lane, your choices will be standby or purchase access to the Lightning Lane. So what you're going to have to count on or hope for is that not enough people will cough up the money to use the Lightning Lane that it will allow the standby to move smoothly. If you've got 1,000 people an hour willing to pay $100 for their party of 4 to have instant access to Rise of the Resistance, then that's going to slow your standby line down. Mm-hmm. But if 20 people in an hour choose to pay for the Lightning Lane, you're going to run through that standby queue a lot faster because 95% of the capacity of that ride will have gone to the standby.
Yeah.
So that's the big unknown.
It's impossible to predict right now because they're not releasing prices for that.
They're not releasing
pricing
prices.
Is going to fluctuate.
But what they did release was at Disneyland Paris, they tried a paid Fast Pass version where the Buzz Lightyear attraction that they have was going for $18 per person.
Yeah.
To skip that line. I mean, which that in and of itself is ridiculous, but
for that one ride.
I don't know why why do the French love Buzz Lightyear?
Maybe they didn't.
Maybe they didn't.
Maybe they didn't pay the money.
So they jacked the price up so that people would go, whoa, this is a really in-demand attraction. I didn't do very well in economics, so I don't know.
I don't know. We didn't know that one. So that'll be interesting to watch and see. But
I don't know. I think the system has a lot of potential.
I think they're going to get to a lot of problems with people in the park because of the confusion over having a lightning lane, but then also being able to pay separately for an individual lightning lane. I just think that's going to there's unnecessary confusion.
There is a school of thought amongst internet people that Disney has purposely made this confusing so people will just throw money at it to fix the problem and be like, oh, it costs $20 to ride Rise of the Resistance. Oh, I want to ride that. I'll pay $20. And then they don't have to think about it anymore. So get yourselves a travel planner. We'll help you figure it out. We'll walk you through it, and we'll find the best use of your money for Genie Plus.
I really want to believe that what you just said is not true. Not about the travel planner. About Disney wanting people to just throw money at things because it's confusing. I want that to not be true. In my heart of hearts.
Let's hope so.
In my ray of sunshine heart, I really need that to not be true.
You know what is free? 3 things.
I almost choked. Sorry. Okay, 3 things. Can I go first?
On our last episode, we each only had 2 things until about halfway through the podcast. So we both agreed to try to do better tonight. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go first because I'm afraid I'm going to forget it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's been a while for this one.
Oh, dear.
Because our kids now they're 11 and 13, so we're entering the teenage zone. But I was reflecting back and thinking back, and I want to know your thoughts on 3 best attractions for when you have little kids. And by little, I'm thinking preschool age.
Okay.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
I feel like they're all going to end up at the Magic Kingdom, which is unfair.
Me too. Okay, go ahead.
I would start out and say Jungle Cruise. Mm. And I'm not going to there's not going to need to be a lot of explanation here for me. Jungle Cruise, Winnie the Pooh, and Peter Pan.
Okay. You don't want to explain anything?
I think they're all relatively tame, but there's a lot to see. There's a lot of bright colors in Winnie the Pooh, and it has a lot of good movement to it. There's a lot going on to look at. Peter Pan is a wonderful story, and with all the blacklight stuff, it's very bright and colorful, and it's a movie that they probably know if they're at Disney World. There's a good chance their parents have shown them Peter Pan, so that's a character that they're familiar with. And, I think Jungle Cruise, seeing all those animals is fun, and they may or may not get the jokes or care, but they'll enjoy, looking back and forth on either side of the boat and seeing what all's there and, checking out some of the skipper's favorite plants, like this one.
Like this one.
And that one. How about your 3? I like that 3 things because there's so many good choices, and I could sit here and list.
Yeah.
We could do 20 things because that's a good category.
Yeah, we could. And yeah, my original thought was like anywhere throughout Walt Disney World, and then I got to my 3 right there in Magic Kingdom too. Yeah. So I agree with. Wait a minute. What did you say? I
said Jungle Cruise, Winnie the Pooh, and Peter Pan.
Okay, so Winnie the Pooh was on my list. And part of that is because of that interactive queue where there's things to do, things to touch, things to play with. So those little kids that need to be busy, they can be busy while we're waiting in a queue and everybody's tired. They're playing with things. They're interacting with Rabbit and his house and the honey pot stuff that they're trying. Just keep your hand sanitizer handy. But that's a fun queue. So that one was on my list. And Dumbo is on my list because, the ride is just Dumbo. But I am still, however many years later, just so impressed with the whole playground area inside Dumbo's waiting area.
I think anybody...
Is that open now?
I'm not sure if it has reopened yet.
I don't know if that's reopened.
I feel like anybody our age or older will appreciate the play area inside the Dumbo queue because I think... anybody our age and older had to wait in the line for Dumbo if you wanted to ride it in the old location. Right. And it took forever because you only put 32 people on every 2 or 3 minutes.
And in the end, the ride is meh.
Yeah.
It's
not
it goes in a circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cute. It's nostalgic, and you need to do it. But I love that play area.
Yeah.
And having been an exhausted parent now for many years, I appreciate the opportunity to sit down and watch my kid play and give them that time to just run around and do what they need to do.
For sure. And if you have older kids and you don't know what we're talking about, head back there next time you're at the Magic Kingdom. Just poke your head in and go.
Yeah, you just walk through it and look.
Dang.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It definitely has solved a problem.
Yeah. So I love that.
That's a good pick.
And then my third pick is maybe for a little bit older than preschool, but I still love story time with Belle. I think I will probably still go watch that even when I don't have any kids with me, because it's just so cute how they get the kids up and into the story and they move around and they get to interact with Belle. It's really special. So
yeah, I like that one too.
That's my third pick.
Excellent. Good picks. Excellent. Well, my three things stems a little bit from our last trip. So I want to know 3 things you love about the Disney theme parks at night.
Ooh.
Because it's my favorite time.
Oh, yeah.
And it can be specific or it can be a general feeling. Mine kind of runs in between.
So, I mean, first, I feel like an obvious one is the castle at Magic Kingdom at night is just gorgeous. And then now with the shows being projected on it, that's another whole other level. But even when there's nothing happening, just the lights on the castle, it's beautiful and magical. I don't know what else to say about that. What else at night? If you have not had the chance to be at Animal Kingdom at night, make sure you go over there to Pandora and see the whole entire world just glow. That's amazing. That's breathtaking.
Yeah.
And so fun to interact with. So that would be my second thing. Third thing that I love about... Okay, so I feel like maybe this is specific to our family, but there tends to be at least one evening where we're just on our way out and we've put off getting dessert or something special. So there's a last minute hunt for a special dessert treat as the park is
absolutely.
closing.
No, for sure.
And while it can be frustrating, I don't know why that is totally entertaining to me. And that's something that I think I will just always associate with the parks at night.
Yeah.
What's my last thing?
In the last 10 minutes that the park is open, the answer to almost every question is sure.
Yeah. You want a cupcake? Yep, let's get it.
Yep, that's about it.
So, yeah. I don't know. Maybe that one was a little bit specific just to our family, but that's where I'll land.
Cool.
What are yours?
I like that. So, for me, I love the atmosphere change that happens, in that 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock hour where the lighting, and I think it's specific for me for lighting because during the day you get to see the colors, everything is the way that they painted it, the way that they wanted it painted, the way they wanted it presented. Mm-hmm. But that's still dependent on the sun. I know this is kind of out there.
No, you're fine.
But at night, the Imagineers have the opportunity to paint it exactly the way they want it with light and shadow. Mm-hmm. And, take the Haunted Mansion. It is during the day. It's an old looking spooky building. The trees help. It looks foreboding. Mm-hmm. But at night, the way they're able to paint that building with light absolutely transforms it into a whole different thing. So like if you go to ride Haunted Mansion for the first time at night, that place looks way scarier than it does during the day.
That's true.
Like if you're a first timer and you're freaked out, ride it during the day. So I love the atmosphere of the parks at night. If the parks were open from 3 p.m. to 2 a.m. on the regular, that would be my perfect time. Because being in the parks at night is just my favorite thing.
Okay.
So let's call the atmosphere one of my favorites. My second favorite part about the parks at night is the mood and the energy that you can kind of feel around you as you get closer to the nighttime spectaculars, the wishes and happily ever after and illuminations and stuff like that. And just like, especially at Epcot, and this is now this is in the past, and hopefully there will be a pre-show like this for Harmonious, but those 6, 7, 8 songs that start running about 8 o'clock around World Showcase Lagoon before Illuminations, like those go down to some of my favorite songs. Like I hear each one and I get a little more excited when I hear it because I know the show's about to begin. And even if I'm walking to get a pretzel or get gelato or ride Frozen one more time, I hear the songs and I know what's coming and I start to get that excitement and that build up. And, that's, for me, that's real Disney magic. That's, just getting ready for that is really cool. And I feel like you can feel it from all the guests in all the different parks as they're like, oh, something really special is about to happen, and I'm getting excited for it. And then kind of the flip side of that, and we got to experience it on our last trip, was being in the park after it's closed, if you can, because Disney will always, 99.9% of the time, will, as long as you are in line for an attraction when the park closes, you get to ride that attraction. So we got in line for Splash Mountain at 8:59 and the park closed at 9. And, and we waited our half hour for Splash Mountain, and then we rode Splash Mountain, and it, broke down a couple times, so we had a longer than normal ride time. So we're getting off Splash Mountain at, 9:45 at night, and the park's been closed for 45 minutes. And there's this awesome moment where you're just walking out, but there are so few people in the park, and it's so still and so quiet, and all there is background music, and it's like, this is your very quiet time to reflect and, really look at all that lighting and really look at all the, the details that went into an area that you're in, and really just enjoy it as your own quiet place. So that's something I've always enjoyed when I used to work at Six Flags near Chicago, Great America. Worked a lot of closing shifts, and so walking through that park at night was always really cool. And I've always just enjoyed being in that atmosphere as by yourself as you can get. So I like that quiet time as much as I like the anticipation.
And if you're lucky enough to have that quiet time at the end of a Disney park day, really enjoy it, because you're about to walk actually out of the park and be in the mass of people that are still waiting for the ferry. That's the other benefit of finding something to do right at the last minute in the park. You at least let the other masses stand in line for the ferry for 45 minutes before you get there at the tail end and sneak on the last one. Yes, exactly.
Excellent. All right. So why don't we wrap up our travel planning series? Sure. We've talked about what time of year to go. We've talked about where to stay and tickets and how that all affects your budget. And so I've kind of come up with 3, and they're very general. I mean, you can find exceptions to everything and find extra versions of things. But I feel like there are 3 basic types of trips that you can take.
Okay.
And the first one is a first-timer's trip. This is your first time at Disney. You're trying to get as much done as you can, but you don't necessarily know what to expect, so you're going to end up with the highlights and things like that. The second type of trip is what we have tended to take a lot of in the past, which is the dawn to dusk, do everything or die kind of trip, where you come out more exhausted than you started.
Even when we go with the intention of not doing that.
Yes.
That's still what we do.
It kind of is. It kind of is. And so, but that kind of leads to the third kind of trip that I was thinking of, and that was more of the slower paced relaxation kind of trip where, maybe you're taking a non-park day, or you're making sure you take 2 or 3 hours to go back and swim in the afternoon, and, taking time to have a 2-hour sit-down meal. Mm-hmm. That's that kind of trip. Yeah. So I want to kind of run through each one and talk about maybe ideal situations of how we might plan that trip for somebody, or, what we might be looking for, what we might be focusing on when we plan those kinds of trips. Yeah, so I think this is the hardest one, is a first timer. Like, what would you say is your ideal hotel pick for a first timer?
Golly, for a first timer, I feel like I would go with like Art of Animation or something that is actually really heavily Disney themed.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Because if this is your first trip there, I don't know. For me, that helps make it a Disney trip.
Yeah, and I think especially
the
family suites at Art of Animation, I think are right up the alley for that.
Yeah.
To really, be really immersed in the whole Disney feel.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like Art of Animation. I could also see one of the All Stars. Yeah. If you're looking for a slightly lower cost pick, then because Art of Animation, there is a low cost option there with the Little Mermaid rooms. Those are more of a standard value resort room, but the majority of that resort are the family suites, which are a little bit pricier.
Yeah.
And the Little Mermaid inventory runs out faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. All Stars are good. You start to get in, when you get into the moderates, they are less overtly Disney themed, but they are still themed. And so, you have that opportunity. Like, I'll say that, but then there are the opportunities to have a more Disney themed room at a couple of the resorts, like Port Orleans Riverside has the Princess and the theme. Frog rooms, and Caribbean has the pirate rooms. So there is that option. I guess what I wouldn't necessarily do on a first trip is spring for the deluxe.
Right.
Because
unless you're taking several days for your first trip, maybe. But yeah.
Yep. Speaking of that, how many days would you devote to a first trip? How many do you think is?
I would do at least 4, so that you have 1 day per park.
Agreed.
For sure. And I would not. Maybe I'm jumping ahead. I wouldn't mess with park hoppers.
No, I don't think I would.
Earlier comments about park hoppers aside, if it's your first trip, it's just for me. Even when it's not my first trip, if we've paid for a park hopper, then I feel like I have to go to another park to get my money's worth, even if I'm still having fun at the first one.
I absolutely feel that, for sure.
So I would rather know that this is my day to do everything I want to do at Magic Kingdom and just do it and enjoy it and not worry about trying to get anywhere else.
Yep, agreed. Agreed. I definitely agree with the 4-day minimum. I don't think I wouldn't do more than 6. I mean, just because I think you'd get so worn out, and I don't want a first timer to come back and go, oh my gosh.
I think you would get less worn out with more days.
Oh my gosh.
No, you get less worn out with more days because then you actually have time to do that thing that we never do.
Maybe the sweet spot is 5 then.
Relax.
Yeah, maybe the sweet spot's 5, and you do 1 day at Epcot Studios and Animal Kingdom and 2 days at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And get to go back to Magic Kingdom and go, oh yeah. Do it first day and last day at Magic Kingdom.
Am I just old that I feel like I can't do 4 days in a row anymore? Is it just
you need one of those
old?
Relaxing trips we were talking about.
Physically, my feet can't handle it anymore. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Minimum 4 days.
Yeah. Do you think there's a specific time of year?
For a first time?
For a first time?
No, I think go when you can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so too. I mean,
no matter what time you go, there's something awesome happening.
Yeah, and we talked in that episode and talked about September and early December being our favorites, but there's never a bad time to go to Disney, except very few exceptions.
I can't think of a single one. So there. I know what you're going to say.
Some of the busier holiday weekends. And I don't necessarily mean Christmas and New Year's because those are busy and we know they're going to be busy. But it's those President's Day weekend where all the locals show up too.
I don't know. I've never been there on a President's Day weekend.
I've heard it's crowded.
You have, maybe.
I don't know anymore.
Anyway.
It's all a blur. The do it all or die plan.
So this is also known as the Julie and Jason special.
Sadly. Sad but true.
Pack all your Band-Aids and several pairs of shoes because changing your shoes every couple of hours helps. This is the getting 5 hours of sleep is a luxury kind of plan. You're getting there for early opening. You're staying for late closing. And
I don't know. Gosh, I'm thinking about it now. I guess I'm still really soured on park hoppers because I'm like, just.
I don't want to spend the time.
Yeah. So I think the benefit of park hopping here is that if you have a park that's open later than the other parks, you know, if Epcot and Studios close at 9, but Magic Kingdom's open till 11.
Right. Or
you're going to Magic Kingdom till 11.
Yeah. And if there's an event
10:59
happening that you want to go to, like Food and Wine Festival, and you know that you just want to be able to go to that each evening, then fine. Yes. Park hop over there. Get whatever it is that you wanted to do over there, and then go do it.
Yeah, so I think that scenario is going to be your most likely park hopping.
Where do you think one should stay for a trip like that?
I think your budget is best served staying at a value. Mm-hmm. I think any of the All-Stars or Art of Animation or Pop, and especially Art of Animation or Pop because they're very centrally located. Mm-hmm. You can now Skyliner to Studios and Epcot.
Yay,
which
Skyliner!
Gosh, we love Skyliner. We'll talk about that next time.
We could do a whole episode about my love for Skyliner.
So, you know, those have Skyliner access and they're very conveniently located. So, you know, look for Pop, look for Art of Animation if you're trying to do it all and get up early and stay out late.
Yeah, if you're not going to be trying to take time for a pool day or something like that, then yes, there's no reason to.
You just need a bed.
Money on something
you
else.
Just need a bed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of. Because you're just not in the room. You're just not. And
there's no reason to spend a ton on your room that you're hardly ever going to see.
Yep. And I also wouldn't, if you're trying to maximize the amount of attractions you do, if you are trying to do every single attraction on the list, I would not take time for sit-down table service meals.
Right.
And we forgot that in the first timers.
The first timer, the food.
I think I would do some sit-downs. I would do more character meals than
find
normal.
A character meal for sure for the first time. Mm-hmm.
So, sorry to bounce back. Shall we move on
I lost my train of thought
That's
completely.
okay. Let's move on to the more restful and relaxing trip, and I think here is where we start to get into the deluxe resorts and taking that time where you don't necessarily you're trying to experience Disney as a resort destination as opposed to a theme park destination.
Okay, here are my thoughts about that. I feel like we made some tactical errors that we will discuss in the upcoming episode. If one wants to take a relaxing trip, but one also has a ridiculous love for Disney and rides and attractions, I feel like you have to plan for that in saying, our resort stay is going to be 6 days, and we're going to purchase 4 days of park tickets and then stop. You know what I mean? So that you don't, because I feel like our plan went from, this is going to be a really nice, relaxing trip.
It did.
To, oh my gosh, we have not stopped.
So we did that. We planned this trip twice, and we planned it the first time, and then there were some scheduling changes and some budget changes, and we went, okay, we can still do this trip, but now we need to do it this way.
Right.
And we managed to stay within the same hotels, just for less days. Whoops.
We did.
Yeah, so we
anyway,
we managed to structure our days in, maybe we didn't get to the park right at rope drop, and we left for 2 or 3 hours at a time and went and swam.
No, we went and sat through
yeah.
storms. Anyway,
okay,
see, this is another episode.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this later.
Yeah.
But my point is, if you want a relaxing trip, schedule more days of hotel stay than days of tickets, so that you actually have days that you can say, like, wow, the last 2 days have just really taken their toll on my feet, my poor feet.
Yes. Yep.
These are the pool.
These are the kinds of trips where you fly in on Saturday and you stay Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you leave the following Sunday. So you've got the 9 days.
Yeah.
And maybe you're only in the park for 5.
Yeah.
maybe 6. Maybe one of them's a water park day, because the water parks are awesome.
Oh.
But, then you're getting that time to wake up late, go to a late breakfast, have a great sit-down meal, go to Disney Springs right when it opens so that it's not quite so busy, come back and swim, find yourself a nice sit-down dinner, and have that be a totally non-park day.
Yeah.
Because there is so much at Walt Disney World that is resort-driven and relaxation-driven.
Yeah.
I've never been to the spas. I've never gone fishing. There's so many things that could be done that we just don't do because we're always rushing to the parks.
Right. So, and in that sense, then, if that's the kind of trip that you're looking at, a deluxe resort is really, you're finally going to get your bang for your buck there. Yeah,
for sure.
Don't you think?
For sure.
Because you'll get to enjoy several pools and a spa.
Absolutely.
I hear there are people that use things like workout rooms on vacation, too.
I don't think any of the hotels have workout rooms. I've never seen one or been in one.
We walked by one every day on our last trip, and I looked in there and thought,
I thought that was just storage.
I
figured nobody could possibly work out on vacation. Not when you're doing 23,000. I was going to say, not when you're doing 23,000 steps a day.
Exactly. So, anyway, I think that's where your deluxe resorts.
Absolutely. I would, yes. If I was looking for a relaxing, resort-driven vacation, I would absolutely stay deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
Without hesitation.
Beach club, yacht club.
Yes. Yes, now near and dear to our hearts.
Sending them love.
Yes, we will. Again, we keep saying this. This will be in the next episode because we really did have a fantastic trip and we can't wait to tell you about it.
Yes, we did. Old Key West gets another shout out too.
I love Old
That's
Key
West.
That's a great one too. I think
and
that
Boardwalk. Oh,
yeah,
there's some really great places.
The deluxes are deluxe for a reason. I mean, they are. There is so much to do there, and I truly feel like they're worth the cost. When you get down to it, for the type of trip that you would stay at a deluxe for.
Yes. You feel like you are on vacation when you step in there.
Absolutely.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. So that might do it for our trip planning series.
I feel like we need to circle around just for a minute, though, and touch on water parks.
Okay.
Where do you think water parks fit in? First time? First time at Disney, do you do a water park?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I could see it more on I could see the water parks coming in more as a down day for the do-it-all crowd.
Ooh, yeah.
Like that, I feel like the water park is that crowd's version of an off day.
I could float in the lazy river for a day.
Where you're not in the big theme parks, but you're in one of the water parks from 11 to 5.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it fits in. I don't think I'd recommend it for a first-timer necessarily.
Yeah.
Just, unless they're looking for a 7 or 8 day trip, then I'd be like, okay, yeah. You could put it in there.
Yeah.
But with that minimum of 5 days, or that sweet spot of 5 days for a first timer,
I wouldn't tough to fit in.
I wouldn't spend one of them on a water park.
I agree.
Very cool. So that has been the trip planning series. If you've missed any of them, they were in episodes 4, 5, and 6, and that leaves us free to move on to other topics, which is very exciting. So some of the stuff that we have planned for the future, we're going to talk about our recent trip that we took in August, and rumor has it that our children are going to appear on that episode, and we are going to refer to them as Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Did they agree to that yet?
They don't have an agent or a contract, so...
Oh, I was going to let them pick their names, though.
Oh. Well, they might be referred to as Thing 1 or Thing 2, but we'll see. But if you know who they are, that's great. And we just thought we'd include them for a little bit. And then in the future beyond that, Amy Blades and Amy Fisher from Goofy Getaways, two of our... I was going to say two of our travel planners, but Amy Blades is the president and CEO, and Amy Fisher is our social media manager. We are really hoping to have them on shortly after they return, because they will both be there for the 50th. I think they're both there. I know Amy Fisher's there for sure. So if they're listening, this is your invitation, but we're hoping to have you over for this one. So
I'm looking forward to conversations about the 50th.
I'm really excited about the 50th anniversary. So that's going to be, there's going to be some really great stuff happening.
Yeah, cool.
So, but,
thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening. In the meantime, you can find us on Facebook at Goofy Getaways with Jason and Julie. You can find us on Instagram at Our Disney Opinions. And thank you for listening to these that have been our Disney Opinions.